Therefore, these things that were created by him cannot be equal to power to him. Of course not.
If you look at the Bible, if you take like
I don't need to look at the Bible. I'm not a Christian.
Okay.
I'm a Muslim.
If you take the Christian theology, for example, is the one I know, and you say that God, He created the world in 7 days, right?
No, but I don't need to. I'm not interested in Christian theology. Let me tell you why. Because I think that's a bunch of
maybe
like.
you should be.
No. I study it. I'm telling you, from studying it, I am not interested in it. Yeah, go.
Can I finish my point? So let's take that example. He's creating the world in 7 days. Why did God need to do that? Why did God need to create a world?
6 days. 7 days he rested.
Yeah,
he was too tired.
Yeah, you're right. Whatever.
That's a Christian theology.
He created the world in 6 days. Yeah, he gets yeah, sure.
It's
that God is inferior. That's funny. Anyway, so let's assume, right? God, He has to create something to be able to work His magic through, right? He can't just, if He's in a void and He's like, I'm an all-powerful being, I could create when I want, but I'm not using it. It's the same as not doing anything. So he's just a passive force. The force only gets real once it gets manifest.
No, because the whole point is your point is not about God Himself. Your point is about
two sides of one coin.
No, let me that's what I mean. Okay, stick to it. Two sides of one coin. What are the two sides you're talking about? All things that are existent contingently, and this creator for the first cause necessary existence. Yeah. You are talking about a relationship between two things. You're not talking about only the necessary existence alone.
Is he not?
This relationship
is not unequal.
It's agnostic.
No, okay,
exactly
but you're contradicting yourself because by definition,
How am I contradicting
I'll tell you why. Because you already accept that contingent things are reliant in one way on. There's a reliance relationship that is a one-way relationship, and the other existence is not reliant.
That's not what I said. I said they're both reliant on each other.
No, but I've already shown you that can't be the case because by definition in existence. Because when we discuss the types of modalities in existence, there are only two in existence. A necessary existence, which exists through itself, and a contingent existence. And through the rational proof that I gave you of the contingent set needing something outside of it that is also not contingent because everything contingent is in the set. Therefore, it must be that a necessary existence exists, and this is the cause of everything in the set.
I get that.
So, however, if you truly get it, if you do actually get it, then you wouldn't be contradicting yourself and then saying, why does a necessary existence not have a reliant relationship back and forth?
Necessarily. I get your point, but I don't have to agree with it.
No, but I'm saying if you're gonna not agree with it, I would appreciate if you critiqued it.
You're putting it up as though it's a logical fallacy not to believe in your point, and that is a logical fallacy.
No. So I'm not putting it up as a logical fallacy. I'm saying because you have not found a way to contradict the premise. I
have.
No, let me see.
I have, and that is the first cause. You're saying because this cause here is reliant on that, it's subservient. This cause could live without the other cause. Yep. I'm saying no, that's not the case, because if this cause was living without this, there would be nothing.
No,
there would be nothing.
I can't.
There would just be an immateriality.
Okay,
I choose not to
Is a necessary existence ever impacted with regards to its ontology?
Yeah.
So then
it is impacted by it has to manifest.
Sorry. Remind me of your name. Kim. If you're saying that about a necessary existence, you fundamentally are contradicting yourself on what you accept a necessary existence to be. A necessary existence, by definition, doesn't need anything outside itself for its existence. Therefore, when you say, if contingent things don't exist, this necessary thing would not exist, you're fundamentally contradicting yourself.
Then I wouldn't call it a necessary existence.
No, but you have to. Why? Because I'll tell you what.
I would call it an existence.
I'm forcing you.
I would call it an existence that is existing.
We're just in the middle of a conversation, brother. Yeah.
I would call it an existence that's existing outside of the frame of the world.
I'm forcing you in a logical corner. Let me tell you why I'm doing that.
But then it's not really existing.
I am forcing you in a logical corner.
It exists when it starts to manifest itself.
Let me explain. Look. Let me explain why you're trapped right now in a philosophical corner. Because why? If everything contingent is in this aggregate set, it cannot be that this aggregate set is contingent upon another contingent thing, because everything contingent is already in the set. See what I'm saying? Therefore, it needs to be another kind of existence. And the only other kind of existence there is a necessary existence. This rational proof, unless you could contradict it, unless you could show it to be false. No. where?
I'm not
Show
showing,
me which premise.
I'm not
Show me
showing,
which premise.
I'm not showing it to be 100% false because that's impossible. I'm showing there's another option.
No, you could.
I'm showing there's another option that this reality is just as reliant on the things it creates as the things it creates is reliant
It
on
cannot be, because by definition, if all contingent things exist in this contingent set, it cannot be the case that it's contingent upon another contingent thing.
Why else do you think God would manifest himself if not for that reason?
I'm sorry?
Why else would God not manifest himself if not for that reason? If God was fine and could do without the world,
God chose to.
why would he be, why would he bother?
God chose to.
Chose to, just for fun.
No, but why does God need to be dependent on the...
Why does God need to give you a reason?
Why does God need to create
Why
the world?
does God need to give you a reason?
That's what I'm
He doesn't
questioning.
need to. That's the point.
One second. Do
doesn't
you think that God, in order for God to exist, does he need to have any other existence?
Yeah, he
Why?
needs to create something.
But why is that?
Because
you're making a claim, you need to
otherwise
substantiate.
he's not coming to life. Otherwise he's not being manifested. Otherwise he's a force.
So
he's a force outside of the world.
Exactly.
Outside of
That's
the
what
world.
we're saying.
But
Why
if
is it?
you're just
Why
a
can't
force,
that be
if you're
possible?
just a force outside of the world, you literally don't exist.
Based on whose perception?
Yeah.
No, based on whose perception?
Based on the perception that you're not in the world, you're outside the world.
Based on your perception.
Outside of the rules of the world. It's non-existence that's
Wait,
able
sorry.
to
So you're saying
impact.
let's see him.
No. Until he creates and manifests a world.
Oh, but who's going to now, when he creates the world, at a point, at a particular point in time, right?
Yeah.
So before that, do you agree that there was no creation?
There was no creation. Yeah, sure.
But
Fine.
God is still existed.
Sure, he can exist.
No, but you've already. That's the
does-
point. You've already
but that-
contradicted yourself because
but-
You just answered your question.
But before you said no.
No, but yeah. So he can exist independently, but that
Thank
doesn't
you.
make him more
Fantastic.
powerful.
No, it does.
No,
Let me
but
tell you
you
what.
said the goalpost.
No.
Let
He
me
went back with this before.
He can exist outside of him, but if he does,
What do you mean,
he's
outside of
impotent.
him? That doesn't make
Outside of
sense.
the world.
Outside of the existence.
If God is outside of existence and he doesn't get into existence, he's impotent and he can't do anything.
No. Just because he decides not
He's
to.
only potent when he creates
Can a
it.
weightlifter have power and not exercise his power?
Sure.
Okay, so what's the problem?
But he can, okay, fair enough.
What's the
He can
problem?
have the power.
Fair enough, okay.
He can
What's
have
the
the
problem?
potency to do it, but if he never lifts his weight or if he never does it, he never
Does
gets
that
to show
impact
that
his power?
It
But
doesn't affect
us observing this power has
Yeah.
no impact on whether this thing has the power to create or not.
You can't prove that you have power unless you exercise.
He doesn't need to prove.
No, but you're saying prove. That means
Proof is different.
From
yeah,
your
it does.
perception.
No.
Yeah, it does.
No, but
Because
let me tell- but-
otherwise you just look at a big guy and you assume he's strong, but maybe he's weak.
Oh no, you're making
Maybe he's
no.
weak.
You're making an inference based on observation.
Sure.
Now what we're doing is we're using rational argumentation,
Yeah.
a rational proof to show
Yeah.
that you need a necessary existence,
couldn't you
which
say-
has a one-way reliance relationship. The contingent has a reliance relationship on the necessary,
Yeah.
and not vice versa. Therefore, it cannot be that they're equal in power because one gets
bodybuilder.
its existence from the
Bodybuilder
other
is a
and
great
not the
example.
other. Yeah, go on.
The bodybuilder is a great example. Let's assume he's really strong. He's got a lot of potent power.
Sure.
Yes. He goes to the weight. He's about to lift it. He's about to exercise his power. What happens? His spine breaks and he falls apart and he can't lift it after all. Did he have power or did he not have power?
Okay, that's not irrelevant.
Okay,
No, that's very
No,
relevant.
but what-
That's very
but
relevant.
Kim,
no.
Because that's a
I think you were in a bit of a corner here, actually.
No. Okay, show me
Because-
where's the corner?
No, Kim,
the corner
let me
is-
explain what
What if
happened.
he never manages to lift that weight? Can you say that
No,
he had
you have
power
gone from
then?
existence to ability. Two different things.
I know.
You have moved the goalpost.
I know, yes.
We
That's
were
why I
talking-
said it's
what we are
it's
talking
irrelevant.
about. First, let's discuss the
Well,
existence.
actually,
wait,
actually,
Kim.
no. Let's talk
We
about.
have
Let's
to
talk about.
define
Let's talk
the
about.
existence
Let's talk about.
before you understand the
Sure.
ability of this.
And I am saying because you were equating existence with strength and existence with power and existence with
I'm
hierarchy.
saying there's a power
What
dynamic.
I'm saying is there's a potential, but unless it's being used, it's never being manifest.
No, but
No,
you,
no, no.
you already
You
agreed
keep
that
using-
before the creation,
Yeah.
God existed.
And that is crucial to my argument.
Good. So
And
if God
that's fine,
existed
we
before
accept
the
that.
creation, then you're agreeing with us.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm agreeing he existent, but I'm saying
But
he's
then you know what he'll say.
impotent.
So now, now we are
as
going
long-
to the second stage,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
the ability.
But it has
so
to-
if God is able to create, would you agree he's a creator?
Sure.
Okay, so so one ability you have agreed with us,
But it's-
creator. Let's go to
Yeah,
another
yeah,
one.
yeah.
If God is able to identify someone who's an evildoer
Sure.
versus someone who's a good person, that means he employs his attribute of justice,
Sure.
then he's a just God. Do you agree? He's able to identify the
We
truth.
don't see that a lot, do we?
Oh, but you will on the day of judgment.
Yeah, that's the point.
On the day of judgment.
Is that where do you see it? Just because you don't see it here,
Because you see, if
doesn't
God, trust me, if you really wanted God to judge everyone based on every action they commit, then you wouldn't be able to even live your life, because we sin and disobey God on a daily basis. So the reason God gives you that ability and leeway to carry on with your life, because He's merciful. He says, look, maybe this person, he doesn't obey today, but maybe tomorrow he might change his ways and become truthful. You know, he doesn't oppress anyone. He becomes
You think
obedient.
God acts that way?
Yes.
Because I don't think so.
So you think God is not merciful?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay,
Let's
on what
look
basis?
at children that die from cancer before they're 2.
Okay.
Let's look at...
Okay, how about this? How about this? How about this? Oh,
children
take your
that
example.
get blind,
Take your example.
Their brains
Take your
eaten up by
Take your,
worms
one
before
example.
they're 1.
One
Did they
example at a
deserve
time. Kim, one example at a
Is
time.
God
The
being
child
just there?
example. The child
That's
example.
the
Ismael is very
easiest-
eager to answer
it's
that.
the easiest
Listen,
atheist
listen,
argument.
listen.
Yeah.
The one example at a time. So we don't do like shotgunning. One example.
No, you were getting
the child.
into that, but...
I was about to get in it, but Ismael wants to
Let me
answer.
get that point to
Just-
you. I've got the point.
I got
I've
the
got the
point.
point. Oh, okay. So we agreed on the bodybuilder, right? Let's assume he's very strong. You see him, he looks
Why are
strong.
you back to the bodybuilder?
Yeah,
Stick to
yeah,
this
no,
argument for evil
that's
stuff.
ability and
He scored a point.
existence. I'm saying God can exist outside the world, but He's very impotent until He creates the world. You can't see His power and
He's
strength
not okay.
unless
no,
it's manifest.
you change the goalpost.
It is
There's
reliant
nothing. No, it's
on
not
the
impotent.
manifestation.
Okay,
It's not-
so no, I think he's
It's
making
reliant on the
a good point, but
manifestation.
I'll give you a good answer to that. In order to possess an attribute, is it necessary to manifest it?
Yeah, because okay,
You haven't,
because
you haven't even listened to the question.
Yeah, no.
Okay, what was my question? Let's see if we got it.
I said it is.
Let's see if we got it.
Yeah.
What was my question?
Is it necessary for an
didn't get it.
ability?
You didn't
Yeah.
get it.
Is it necessary for an ability to become manifest to exist? That's what you said.
Is it necessary for?
necessary for an ability to manifest to exist?
Okay, is it necessary
Yeah.
for someone to possess an attribute?
That's exactly.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the same.
to possess an attribute
Possess an attribute.
and not manifest it.
Sure.
Okay, so is it possible?
Is it possible? Well, I would say we can't know until it's manifest.
Okay.
You can say, oh, this person is very intelligent, but until the person proves that they are intelligent and manifests it in the moment.
You're moving the goalpost.
No, but you're telling me.
Wait. I'm not. That's the only
just
time you can
shifted it.
actually see that the person is intelligent.
Could I just adjudicate?
Yeah.
I think you're answering a question he didn't ask.
Exactly.
He asked
That's
the
why I
question
asked you if
again.
you understood it.
So no, it could be in the heat of the conversation you lost track of his
Okay,
question.
what's
Once
Ask again. Ask again.
Is it possible for a person to possess an attribute, not manifest it?
or not show it.
Or not manifest it. And that's why I'm getting into that. No, it actually is.
Okay, can
Let me give
somebody
you
be intelligent?
Go on.
It actually is.
Let me give you a scenario. Imagine somebody went to space.
Yeah.
Yes? This person you know very well.
Yeah.
To be kind, to be merciful, everything.
Yeah.
Okay? Now in space, he's alone on the space station. Nobody but himself.
Yeah.
Does he still possess those attributes? Or has he stopped possessing them? He's not manifesting it now.
I think, yeah, we can't see the attributes there. So I think
Does
it's
he
a
still have it?
I think it's a fallacy to say that he still has it. We don't know.
No, why is the fallacy?
They might have been gone.
Sorry?
They might have been gone. He might have been changed. He might have been warped. He might go insane.
But he might
And
not
then,
have.
Then we couldn't
But he
say
might
he's
not have as well.
And actually, I think that's the weakness of assuming those attributes.
No,
and
you're
saying-
assuming
No.
you forgot those.
No.
You're the one assuming it.
No. I'm actually.
You're all over the place right now.
He's in a tough corner now.
You're
He's
actually-
fighting his fitra. I can see it.
Don't
no,
turn your
you're
back.
not listening.
Don't turn your back.
You're not listening. You're not listening.
Okay, go on.
So I'm actually agreeing here. You're trying to get me to say something, and I'm saying,
I'm
yeah,
not. I'm
that's,
asking a question.
that's the case.
I don't know if you
I
feel
would say
that,
that we can't say that person is kind necessarily until he shows that kindness.
No, but you knew he was kind. You knew he was kind.
So that's an
you knew he
idea I
was
have.
merciful.
That's
but
an
then,
idea.
But
That's an illustration I have of him, but it's not necessarily true.
okay, so now you know that he was kind and merciful.
Yeah.
But now because you cannot perceive him anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. You're saying that
could
it
have
is
changed.
possible he's changed.
Okay, one second.
Let me ask
So
you
if
this.
you got a
So when
brain
you sleep,
scan-
wait. When you sleep, you might be kind, generous, merciful. When you sleep, are you still?
Are you unkind,
Are you still
ungenerous,
showing those
unmerciful?
attributes?
Potentially, yeah. Because everyone.
What are you
because-
doing when you're sleeping? Go on. Tell us how you're kind when you're sleeping.
Because those attributes are very, very
Yes, please.
reductive. They are assuming that you can boil a person down to a couple of attributes, and then he's permanently that. That's a big fallacy. I
No,
think.
I'm saying when you're sleeping, you're not showing those attributes.
Yeah.
You're not manifesting them. Sure. But are you
So
still?
you're not kind necessarily.
You see, that is
Not
a
at that
fallacy.
moment.
That's the fact. We let the people judge this.
Why would you?
Because when you go to sleep and you stop being
why would you
merciful.
say the sleeping person is kind? That's something. That's reputation.
No.
That's reputation. That's
You know the
something
fallacy. You know the
fallacy.
fallacy you have fallen into.
What?
You think that a person's attributes needs to be shown 24/7.
Yeah.
Do you do any of your attributes 24/7?
Otherwise, you can't say that you have. And I think it's a bit of a fallacy to say that a person is necessarily kind. He's always
No, but
kind.
do you profess
All
your
of us-
attributes
all of us-
24/7? Any of them?
All of us have all the attributes 24/7. All of us have the capacity to be
Do they
evil.
manifest them?
All of them have the potential to be
Exactly.
good.
Now you answer.
eyelids.
When we manage them, when we manifest them, then they become true.
When you close
But
your
that's
eyelids,
exactly- so that's
do
what
you
you're
lose
saying.
do you lose the ability to see when you close your eyelids?
Yeah, for a moment.
No, but not entirely, right?
Yeah.
So you could still see. You could still have the ability
You
to
still
see.
open your eyes
You still
and
have
see.
the attribute of seeing,
Sure,
right? Even
yeah.
when you close your eyes.
Yeah,
so you
sure.
don't need to manifest sight to have the ability
Exactly.
to see.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
So
Okay,
now you
that's
agree
it.
with us.
Agree with us. Now this whole 30 minutes.
Success.
Of,
Kim,
finally.
look, like I said, the principle still remains. In order to possess an attribute, you don't need to manifest it. Accept it
Yeah.
and live with it. Then you'll be at peace.
No, I think I disagree.
You just
still fighting, you're still fighting it, you know.
I told you you've been
You're still fighting
contradicting
the
yourself
fitna.
for the last 30, 40 minutes.
I am thinking about it here a little bit, and I'm
Yeah,
thinking like,
good, you
if,
should
That's a good
reflect upon
sign.
it.
That's a
if
good
you
sign.
close
You
your
know-
eyes,
Unbelievable.
if you close your eyes,
Yeah.
you're not seeing at the moment. You don't have the ability to see at that moment. But once you open them, you have the ability to see again.
No, you're manifesting sight when you open them. You have the ability always.
I think it's a very naive position to assume that you have latent abilities and they are permanent, because they're not. They can change. They can change at any moment.
So insofar,
Any second, you can go from being a kind person to be a cruel person.
can.
Kim.
Any person.
can.
So you don't have that
Kim,
latent
but the
ability.
mechanism
so you would
changes.
agree. You don't have
You
that
change the
latent
goalpost
ability.
again. You know why?
No, why?
Because now
No.
you're saying the ability you possess can
Yeah.
be taken away from you. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think the point I made, which you still haven't grasped,
Same
is
with the
that
weightlifter.
in order to have those attributes in the first place, yes, you need to have the attribute to manifest it. For example, you need to be a loving person to show love. Yes? If you are always an evil person with no room for love at all, then you cannot manifest love. Am I right?
No, I don't think so. No, I think it's.
Kim,
I
Kim,
think
how
it's
about this?
just-
You know what,
wait,
Sit, Kim.
I
One
think-
second.
If you don't have the
I
attribute,
think
how can you
let
manifest?
me answer.
Just one
Let me
second.
answer.
Let me
this.
answer.
Wait. So I think you can't just say he's a loving person and only a loving person can manifest love. It's too
No,
simplistic.
that wasn't
It's
my
also-
question.
It's also
That
too
wasn't
simplistic.
my question.
You said that.
My question is, if you did not have
you
the
said
attribute of
also,
love.
You said also, if you're evil, you can't manifest
Tim,
love. If you're an evil
You're not
person,
listening, that's why.
it's not.
Shall I
you
repeat the
don't-
question?
you
Because
don't
I
have
missed it
the
again.
ability. You don't
If
have
you
the
don't
ability.
have the attribute of love, can you love?
If you don't have the attribute
Don't
of love,
possess at all.
everyone has the attribute
No,
of
don't
love.
tell me what everyone has. I
Everyone
gave you a
else-
condition.
everyone
If
has
you
it.
don't have the attribute of love,
Everyone
can you
has
love?
the potential for love.
No, that wasn't my question.
Yeah.
My question,
but
if you don't have it.
But I think that's a fallacy in the
No,
first
it's not a
place.
fallacy.
You can't
It's
say
not a
that you
fallacy.
don't have.
I gave you a
You
condition.
can't say
It's a
that
thought
you don't-
experiment. If
you
somebody-
can't, wait. You can't say that you don't have the ability to love. That's impossible.
I'm not
Why
talking
is
about
it impossible?
Everyone has the potential to love.
Why is it impossible?
Because it's built
Have you
into our
actually
DNA.
checked everyone?
It's built into
Have
our
you
DNA.
done a consensus, a census
a
of
scientific
everyone?
experiment?
Even the most evil person, even Mr. Scrooge, can be turned around and
friend,
have the potential for love.
just take the thought
Everyone's
experiment
got the
for what it
seed.
is.
Everyone's got the seed for good and evil.
Okay,
My friend.
Once you have,
Everyone's got the potential.
You see,
So I think abilities.
I think what you're doing is you're changing
Ability-
the condition which I gave
ability
you.
is too simplistic.
Kim, the whole point of
I
a
think
thought
ability
experiment is
too
you accept
simplistic.
the thought experiment for what it is
Exactly.
and you don't change it.
You don't change the
So
experiment.
I'm
How
not
have I
interested
changed
in. I'm not because we
condition
said
and
that
change.
somebody who lacks the ability to love, and you said no, everybody has the ability to love. I'm not talking about everybody.
Okay.
I'm talking about this conceptual person
A conceptual person
that doesn't have the
that
ability to love.
doesn't have
Could he
the ability
ever
to
love? Could he ever manifest
I
You know,
don't
love?
think that can exist.
let's use a sight example.
that
if
can't
someone
exist.
if someone doesn't have the attribute of sight, can
Yeah.
they see?
If someone doesn't have, if someone has
Born
lost their
without
eyes,
eyes.
Yeah.
Born without eyes.
Yeah, they won't. Yeah, okay, fair enough. They
So
won't.
you
be
need
able-
attribute in order to perform
Yeah.
the action. I don't know why he's fighting
I
against
don't know what
himself.
you already conceded it. Okay, look, Kim. You know my advice
Are
to
you,
you.
are you
yeah?
going to think about that as well?
My advice to you, please just understand this. My advice to you,
think-
sincere advice, yeah?
Yeah.
The Quran encourages reflection, pondering.
Yeah.
And I think that you need to go and watch this video and follow the thought process and reflect and ponder upon what we said here with you. Because you, throughout this conversation, have accepted many things. You've accepted that the reliance relationship between contingent things and necessary things is one way. You've accepted that one has power over the other. You've accepted that that your attributes could be there without them manifesting. You've accepted many things, and then in the same breath contradicted them afterwards. So the best thing to do is to go reflect upon the footage. It'll be on Dawah wise, inshallah. You could reflect upon it, watch it, digest it, come back, and we'll further the discussion, inshallah.
What about your, I don't know,
Yes,
Suboor said you already discussed about the
Yeah.
possible existence of God.
Yeah.
What was the end result of that?
So the end result there, basically what we were getting into was, you were saying that God is a first cause, he's existing independent of contingent causes, so he's superior. He's a higher cause, if you will.
No, I'm just talking about the existence
all other
now.
causes.
Not about
he
election. So do you
exists,
believe that
yeah.
God exists or he doesn't exist?
Yeah, I believe that God exists.
Okay,
but in a different plane than us.
Okay,
Yes,
so
he was
what is
likening
your-
God to the creation,
Yeah.
so we had to separate God from creation.
Okay, so what
that
is-
was the whole discussion.
What is where does your understanding of God come from?
So my understanding from God comes from that God is it's a two-way street instead of it being a one-way street. God needs the world to manifest his powers. He needs to exist through
And
the
No,
Kim,
where
world
does
what
it
did
come
we
from?
include?
to show his power, to become powerful.
Where does this come
he
from?
Can
That's the
still,
question.
he can still exist outside of the world, right?
Kim,
But
I'm
he's
not
but he's
asking
very
about all
powerful.
those details. I'm asking where does that knowledge come from?
Where does it come from? Well, that's a good question. I suppose it's a combination of animism and Buddhism.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where does that come from?
Where does that come from? Folk traditions, folklore, ancestors, history.
The whole point of the last hour-long
so
discussion.
all those still require some source.
Yeah.
Can you name a source?
Yeah, sure, that will probably be a creative force. Sure.
No. Look, when you talk about
A god,
creative
a creative force. If you go back all the steps, if you go back like regressively, you'll get back to that first course.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that first course is just as reliant on everything else that came after it as all the other things are reliant on it.
is that monism?
Monism,
He just
no,
kept
I
on
don't think so.
repeating
No?
that it's two sides of the same coin. That he's basically equating God to creation. So the point is that
Or is it pantheism or pantheism? Which one is it?
Pantheism. Yeah, it's getting close to that, I think.
Pantheism?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
potentially.
So that's where I think that's where your understanding of everything is within God. Everything is God. Got it right?
Well, aren't those two basically the same thing?
No, they are not. Because one
Are
is
they
pantheism, which means everything is God,
Yeah.
and pantheism is everything is within God.
Everything is.
So God encompasses.
So God encompasses everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I go for the first. Probably
Everything
the
is God?
first there.
So you're pantheism.
That God is suffusing everything, right? And God is as reliant on the things that He has created as they are on Him.
And what we've demonstrated for the last hour to you
Yeah.
is that not only is the reliance relationship one way, we've also shown you that God does not rely on creation for His attributes. God exists completely independent of those things. And this is why I told you, because you've now accepted that and then you contradicted that many times throughout this conversation, go and watch the footage, reflect upon it,
Yeah, I think
ponder
I will.
upon it, digest it, come back.
I'm not
There's no
sure.
point. We've already, like everything that you said, we've already went through it for the last hour.
Yeah.
What about-
But I'm not sure I've contradicted that point. I'm not
No,
sure.
you'll see
I think
yourself on
the
camera
best-
doing it.
The best argument that you have made against that is that God has ability and it doesn't need to be manifest because we can
Yeah.
have abilities and attributes without manifesting.
And that goes
That's the
against,
best.
alhamdulillah, and that goes against your whole two-way reliance thing. That's the point. It's all connected.
What about
But
the
I'm not
existence?
sure if it does, because wouldn't you say that the reliance on sight, for example, needs to be
No, that's not what I meant.
exercised
That's not what I meant.
to be there?
Because your whole thing was God is reliant on creation for Himself to be powerful.
Yeah.
And we demonstrated that no, you could have an attribute, you could have the attribute of power,
Yeah.
and without manifesting it, and it would still be there. Therefore, God does not rely on the creation. Therefore, the reliance relationship is only one way. Now let's pause here because nothing you're gonna say more is gonna give you more clarity. You should just go and digest that.
Couldn't you say that someone who is going to lift weights, he
Yes.
can't prove his strength if he doesn't have the weights, or if he doesn't have anything
him
to lift?
proving proof and actually possessing the attribute of strength, completely two different things.
But
One is
he's-
ontology, one is demonstrating proof, epistemology to somebody else.
One is
But if
action,
he's-
one
but
is
if he's not using that attribute, he doesn't have a
Listen,
chance to show it.
See what I mean?
How
You're
can
going
you-
back into it.
how can
Let's
you-
stop here.
how can
You
you
said
say
a
it's
point.
there? How can you say it's
Let's
there?
stop. Let's stop here because we've adjusted this the last hour. So I want
Yeah.
you to. Well, it is for you. I want you to go and digest this. Okay, everything you've said. So you made one side point about what's it called? There being evil in the world, and babies dying at 2 years old.
Yeah, sure.
In the Islamic conception, a baby who dies in this world gets an eternal afterlife of bliss. So it doesn't matter whether you believe that; it's irrelevant.
No, but before we go there, do you actually believe in the existence of good and evil?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
So is that something does God play any role in that?
Does he play any role in that? I think God has certainly created these two forces because you can't talk about anything that's good if you don't have evil.
Oh, so you think God created
You
evil?
have to have the shadow.
Kim, do you actually believe God created evil?
Yeah, I think so.
You see, Muslims don't believe that.
You don't believe that?
No.
Where did it come from then?
No, we believe that when God created them, they were not evil, but then with their free will, they chose evil. So we believe in devil, the Satan, Iblis, what you want to call it, yes? But we don't believe that he was innately, from intrinsically evil. He had the ability to choose between good and evil.
We don't have a Christian conception of the
If God is omnipotent and omniscient, wouldn't he have predicted that would happen?
No, he knows.
Exactly.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah.
So he created.
But you can't have your cake and eat it too. Let me tell you why.
He gives them the free will.
But
and then he gives then he shows them that these are the consequences if you disobey, and this is the reward if you obey. Then that's the reason I told you earlier that he doesn't interfere in your daily life.
Yeah.
He lets you get on with your free will.
Yeah.
Because like I said, this life is a test. And it's a test for you, it's a test also for the Satan, it's a test for everyone. For all of us, it's a test. What we do in this temporary life will determine what will happen to us in the eternal life, in the hereafter.
Because Kim, listen.
But I'm surprised you said that God created evil. So you have no one to blame than your God.
Well, actually, interestingly enough, you were saying that God is a first cause for everything. So isn't he a first cause of evil as well?
I'm saying he created them, but I didn't say he created them evil.
No, I'll tell you. I'll tell you
Kim,
why.
there's a difference.
Wait a minute.
Wait. You're saying he created them evil. I didn't say he created them evil. You're the one.
You're not making the point that you think you're making.
Hang
Kim,
on.
you're not
So
making
wait
the
a
point
minute.
that you think you're making.
So hang
So
on.
just listen
So
instead of
wait a
doing the
minute.
theatrics.
Evil is a cause unto itself. Evil came out of nowhere, or it came from us. And God created us.
You know what the difference between you and us is?
Doesn't it come from God?
I'll tell you what. Kim, the difference between you and what I said is that you believe they are intrinsically evil. I'm saying they became evil later by the free choice.
I see.
God gives us free will.
You see,
and
in your case, you're blaming God for the evil. In our case, we're not blaming God. You are.
Okay.
Yes.
So which one is the better God? The one who creates evil or the one who doesn't create evil?
Well, I think it's ridiculous.
Or the one who gives them the freedom to choose between good and evil.
I think it's ridiculous to blame God in the first place.
But you are blaming God.
Either for either
You
good
are
or
blaming
evil.
God.
You did that.
Well, I would say that God has created them.
So you're blaming God.